Hey guys, how's it going? Here we are back again with section 3.5, and today we're going to look at something that are called Crook Problems, okay? And there's really no formal introduction for this in terms of defining what they are or how to complete them. So we're just going to actually go ahead and jump straight into one of these Crook Problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at example number 1. All right, so in example number 1, it says to find x, okay? And first off, before we even go further into it, notice that these two lines are parallel. Okay, and we know that because of our little symbol here. All right, it shows us that those two are parallel. Now, the reason why that's important is because if those two are parallel, then we know a few things. We know that if two lines are parallel and they're cut by a transversal, then they must have alternate interior angles that are congruent, alternate exterior angles that are congruent, corresponding angles that are congruent, and it must have same side interior angles that are supplementary. Okay, so let's just keep those two things in mind, or those few things in mind. But this is how Crook problems work. All right, we're trying to find what x is, and unfortunately, there's really not much here that we can use. Okay, this angle x is right in the middle of two different lines that don't really. Basically, the fact that those two top and bottom lines are parallel doesn't really help us how to figure out that angle x. So what we're going to go ahead and do is actually make a new line. And we are going to make it right here. Okay? And we're going to say that this line is also parallel to all three of those other lines. Right? And this is the reason why we're making it. We're making it because now we have officially split up angle x into smaller fragments. A top portion, okay, and a bottom portion. And if we add those two up, we obviously can figure out what the entire angle x was originally. Okay, but let's go ahead and kind of take that line that we created and let's see if we can figure something out. All right. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is concentrate on this angle right here, angle 27. Okay. So this is it. So the measure of this angle here is 27. Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we concentrate on those two bottom lines? Let me get rid of this one for now. Just for the time being, let's just take a look at this line right here and this line right there. All right. So if the measure of that is 27, let's find another angle that we can use some of our theorems with. Well, that means that if those two lines are parallel, this must be my transversal. And can you guys spot what I can use here? How about this? Let me ask you this question. If this is 27, then what does this have to be? If those two lines are parallel? Hopefully you guys said that this angle here has to also be 27 degrees. Alright? And why is that? Well, what kind of angles are they? They're alternate interior angles, right? And if they're alternate interior angles, what does that mean? That means that they have to be congruent, and the reason why is because we have parallel lines. So good. Let's go ahead now and erase some of this stuff. So what do we know now? We know that that angle must be 27 degrees. That's part of our x. That's the bottom portion of our x angle. Now we have to learn what this top portion is, this portion right here. Okay? And that in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and concentrate on only this line and this line and forget completely about this one. Okay? So this is no longer our transversal, so I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. Now what's our transversal? This other line right here. Okay, cool. So what do we know now? Well, from the top angle, we know this angle that is 140. What we want to find is what this piece is here. So how are those two angles related? And I hope you're saying that they're both on the interior of our two parallel lines and they're on the same side of the transversal. In this case, I'll go ahead and call my transversal T. Okay, so they're on the same side and on the interior, so they are same side interior angles. Okay, and what do we know about same side interior angles, guys? That they must add up to be 180. Okay, so if those have to be add up to be 180, then I could do this. Oops, sorry. I could take 180 and subtract the 140 that I already know, and I should get my result. My result is that the remaining angle, that green angle, must be 40 degrees. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go ahead and delete all this information. And now, notice I have the two pieces of my x that I need. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of this line now. So what do I really have here, guys? I have that angle x is 40 plus 27. And what would that give me? 67 degrees. Okay, so notice again, there was really no formal way of introducing this. We just kind of had to go jump straight into it. Okay, so we did that. We jumped right into it, and we found out that that angle x is made up of two different angles that we found each on their own, and then we added them up to give me a final answer of 67 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at example number 2. Hopefully these Crook problems will start to make a little bit more sense now. So, what does this say? It says find the measure of angle B. So I want to know what this measure is. From here to here, measure of angle B. Well, again, I can't really find that because my two parallel lines are here and here, but they don't tell me anything about angle B. So what we're going to have to do, go ahead and draw our imaginary line again. In this case, we're going to draw it going right through angle B. Okay? And then if you want, what you guys can actually do is extend line A and extend that piece right there on angle C. Okay? This is going to help us out because look, again, I want to know what the top portion of angle B is plus the bottom portion of angle B. And if I add those two up, I should find out exactly what the angle measures are. So let's go ahead and do it. So, just like before, let's go ahead and concentrate on only two of those three lines. I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on, let me draw my little arrow here. I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on this line and this line first. So that means I don't even need this at all right now. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see what we can figure out from here. So that means the two lines that are parallel are right there, and my transversal must be this one. Whoops, that was a horrible attempt at a line. Let me try that once again. There we go, much better. That's my transversal. Now I can see if I can figure out how this angle relates to this angle. Well, actually, this is very similar to what we just did on problem number 1. What's true about those two angles? They are a certain type of angle, and hopefully you guys are saying that they're same side interior angles. And what we know about same side interior is that they must be 180. So to find that other piece, all I have to do is subtract 180 minus the 140 that I already know. So this right here has to be 40 degrees. Okay, those two now add up to be 180. Awesome. I have my top portion of angle B. Let's go ahead and move on to the next portion. Okay. And I accidentally deleted my line here, so let me redraw it. Alright, So again, now I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on this line and this line, so I don't even need this top portion. And once again, now I have to identify my new transversal, which is this line BC. And now I can take a look at angle 125 and this angle. Well, how are those two related? Same thing. They're on the same side of the transversal, and they're in the interior of my two parallel lines, so they are same side interior angles. And again, just like we did earlier, that means both of those must add up to be 180. So if I subtract 180 minus 125, I get 55 degrees. So my angle measure here is 55 degrees. Just like before, now I can get rid of everything I had, even my imaginary parallel line. And notice now that angle B is an addition of 40 plus 55. So that means this entire big angle must be 95 degrees. That is the measure of angle B. Okay, so I really hope these Crook problems are starting to make a little more sense. Notice that we can always make parallel lines, okay? Because remember, we actually had a postulate or a theorem that said that through any point, I can draw a line that is parallel to any other line, all right? So we are allowed to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next one. Very, very, very similar to example number 2. Again, I want to find out what the measure of angle B is. That's this whole thing, right? And I can go ahead and draw my parallel, my imaginary parallel line to help me find that. Let me go ahead and do that. And again, usually you'll be drawing this imaginary line through a peak, kind of like right here. Okay, that's my little peak. So I'm going to draw my imaginary line there. I'm going to go ahead and extend these lines just so it's a little bit easier to identify my angles. So once again, I'm going to do the same thing. I need to find my top portion of my angle B and my bottom portion of my angle B. And if I have those two, I should be able to add them up to get the measure of angle B. So let's do it. Go ahead and, just like in the past, let's concentrate on exactly two of these lines. So I'm going to concentrate on that line and that line, so I don't even need this part. So if those are my two lines that I'm concentrating on, then this must be my transversal. Now I can figure this out. Well, the measure of that is 160. I want to know what this measure is, and just like earlier, those are same side interior angles. So I subtract 180 minus 160, and I get 20. So the measure here is 20 degrees. Those added up to be 180. So that is the top portion of my angle B. Let's restart. Now we're gonna take a look at this line here and this line here. I'm gonna forget for a second about this one, and we have to come up with a new transversal. And in this case, my new transversal is this line here, BC. All right, cool. So now, once again, I know that this angle here is 150. I want to know what this angle is right there. So once more, for the fourth time, we have same side interior angles. So those have to add up to be 180. So 180 minus the 150 I already know will give me 30 degrees. Okay. Now I can clear everything away, and I have all the info I need. Okay. I have all the info I need. So angle B is made up of angle 20 and 30 degrees. So they will add up to be 20, 30 will add up to be exactly 50 degrees. This is my final answer. All right. So hopefully we're getting the hang of this. Example number 4 is going to be a little bit more similar to example number 1. So we're going to go ahead and solve example number 4 next. All right. Actually, let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Zoom in. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. All right. So back to our writing tools. Now, number 4, in comparison to number 1, actually has 2 little peaks. This one right here and this one right here. So at every single peak like that, we've actually been drawing a line straight through it. But guess what? We're probably going to have to draw 2 straight lines or 2 parallel lines to these 2 original parallel lines. So we're going to have to do 2 imaginary lines here. So let's go ahead and do those. So I'm going to draw one right here. And the last one right here. And that's going to help us figure out what the angle X is. And again, angle X is this whole big thing. So I need to know what this top portion is. And I need to know what this bottom portion is in order to figure that out. But we'll go ahead and get there in a second. Let's figure out a few other things before that. Well, let's see. Let's concentrate on 2 lines at a time, guys. All right, let's make it a little simple on ourselves. So first off, let's make sure that we understand that all these lines are parallel. So I can concentrate on 2 different lines and then go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on these 2. So I'm going to completely eliminate those. Again, you don't have to do this on your paper. You don't have to scribble it out each time. I'm just showing you because it's a little bit easier to show you here on the laptop. Okay? But just know that we're concentrating on the top 2 lines. So what is my transversal here? Well, my transversal is this one right there. The only one that's not parallel. So let's check it out. If this is 140, and I want to know this top portion of the angle X, well, how are those 2 angles related? Well, again, hopefully you can see that both of those are on the same side of my transversal. I'll go ahead and call T. They're on the same side of T, and they're on the interior of my 2 parallel lines. So they are same side interior angles. Okay, cool. It's good stuff to know. But what about same side interior angles? Well, like we did in the past few problems, same side interior angles must add up to be 180. So if I have 180 minus the original 140 I was given, I have 40 degrees. So this part of angle X is 40 degrees. Okay? All right, cool. Let's move on to the next portion. So let's get rid of this. Let's concentrate on another set of lines here. Now we're going to go ahead and concentrate on this right here. This top one, or I'm sorry, this bottom one and the second to the bottom. All right, well, what does this really tell us? Well, I mean, I already knew this whole thing is 50, but I guess I don't really know what this angle here is. So let's go ahead and see if we can find that out. All right, so if we're concentrating on those 2, this right here is my transversal. All right, and if this angle here is 20 degrees, then what must this one be? Well, what kind of angles are those? Those are alternate interior angles, which means that this here must be 20 degrees. Okay, all right, cool. Now you might be saying, well, what does that matter? That doesn't help me understand what this angle here has to be, because that's what I'm really looking for. Well, not yet. It hasn't helped us just yet, but it will in a second. Because now, what do we know? We know that if this angle here was 20, then what's true about this angle here? Well, the whole angle was 50, but if this piece right here is 20, then that blue angle must be what? This blue angle here must be 30 degrees. Okay? Alright, so I don't really need that 50 anymore because that just helped me find that this angle there is 30 degrees. So one last final thing that we're going to do is concentrate on this line and this line, the last two sets that we have to concentrate on. And now I don't have to look at this. I don't have to look at this. And now my transversal is right here. Okay. So that is 30 degrees. And what I want to find is the bottom portion of my x. But what kind of angles are those two? Once again, those are alternate interior angles. So this angle here must be 30 degrees. Okay, I have found the two pieces of my x. So let's go ahead and start erasing some of these things now. I can even get rid of this right here. Whoops. Maybe I erased a little too much. This was 30 degrees right there. So now I know that x has to be an addition of 40 plus 30 and 40 degrees plus 30 degrees equals 70 degrees. Okay. Alright guys, so I think that is actually good enough for me. So what I'm going to have you guys go ahead and try is the next few on your own. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and try examples 5 through 8. I'm going to come back and show you guys the solution and the answer. I do want you guys to pause the video right now and try them on your own. Again, guys, you really don't gain very much from just copying the answers once I show them to you. You really do need to go ahead and use the examples that you already have and try them on your own. That's the only way you're going to fully understand and know that you understand the entire material, and then you'll be good to ace your test. Right? So go ahead and pause the video at this moment, and then when you come back, I'll have the answers for 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to go and run through these pretty quickly because we've already done 4 example problems just like them. Okay, I know that this angle and this angle must be the same because they're alternate interior. Same exact thing with this. Oh, actually, no, not the exact same thing. This angle and this angle are same side interior angles, which means 180. They must add up to 180. So 180 minus 110 gives me 70 degrees. Now I can add those two pieces. 70 degrees plus 24 degrees must be 94 degrees. So if you got 94 degrees for problem number 5, you guys are awesome. Okay, I'm going to do once more. This one fairly quick. I want to know the measure of angle B. And just like in the past, if you want, you can extend these lines just so it gives you a little bit more of a better perspective on what the angles are here. Alright, so once again, for angle B, I need to know this bottom portion, and the top portion and this bottom portion. So if I relate those two yellow angles, those are same side interior, must add up to be 180. So 180 minus 106 gives me 74. So this piece right here must be 74 degrees. On my other portion, these green angles, those are also on the same side of the interior of my angles. I'm sorry, on the interior of my lines. Again, if you use this as your transversal, their same side interior. And once again, they must add up to 180. So if I do 180 minus 130, I'm already given. I should get 50 degrees. So 50 degrees. I have now my top piece and bottom piece of my angle B. So if you add them up, you get 124 degrees. So my answer here is 124 degrees. So if you guys answer, you guys are good. Okay. Actually, give me 1 second, guys. I'm running out of battery, so let me go grab my charger real quick.